Hope you're all doing great. Welcome to this quick demo session. In this session today, I would like to bring forth some quick discussions on the trending technologies in IT. So let's get started. So in this session today, I would like to let me share my screen and yeah. So in this session today, I would like to bring forth some of the discussions, some of the trending courses that are provided in IT and the way how they are going to impact us if we learn those courses and if we what's this stay in sync or up to date with the ongoing technologies. Let's try to understand that. So before we jump into the discussion, I'd like to raise a question like who hates IT jobs? None of us, right? None of us we hate IT jobs because IT is one of the domains where we expect what's say a six-digit salaries or seven-digit salaries and lavishing buildings, exotic cafes. When you expose yourself as an IT professional, you find a lot of reputation. You find you being what's say rewarded the most. Your colleagues and everyone, even your family members, everyone, they treat you with so great respect because the IT field itself has such great, such IT field itself has such a great recognition. So now let's understand a few things. Like in order to get into the field of IT, let's say back in the past when I was doing my bachelor's degree, BCA, Bachelor of Computer Applications. I wanted to get into the field of IT, but back then, back in 2010, during that time frame, everyone's not ready to occupy the positions in IT because there are a few things that are quite mandatory. You should have pretty good programming skills. Programming skills are quite important to get into the field of IT back in the past. And you should be a good programmer in some of the programming languages like Java or C or C++. And that became quite a nightmare to majority of all the candidates who are having their quest towards IT, but they are unable to just because they lack a programming skill set. But now things changed. If we talk about the current times, we are in 2025, and in 2025, what happened is no organizations are expecting you to have a programming skill set, even without programming knowledge, without having expertise in any of the programming languages like Java or C or C++. You can still sustain in the field of IT because there are some technological advancements came into IT, which are not expecting you to have programming knowledge. And one such skill set is cloud computing, and the second is Devops, and followed by that we got cybersecurity, and so on. There came a lot of technologies in the current times where they're not expecting you to have extreme knowledge in programming. Zero coding, yes, you're good to get into the field of IT and avail handsome packages, maybe 1 lakh or 2 lakhs per month, etc. So now let's talk about in this session today one of the most trending technologies or one of the most trending skill set, DevOps and cloud computing. Alongside with that, I'll talk about artificial intelligence too. If you are good in these areas like DevOps, cloud, and artificial intelligence, what are the possibilities that you can achieve in your IT in the IT industry? Let's get a quick understanding there. So I'll bring my PowerPoint slide up. Just give me a second, so that we'll see. We'll get a quick overview of what exactly is DevOps, and in order to become a DevOps engineer, what should we do? First things first, you don't need to have any programming knowledge. So no matter you're from you're from an IT background or you're from non-IT background, you're a student in chemical engineering or whatever, anybody can do DevOps. Anybody, no matter you're from you're working professional but non-IT background, not a problem. You want to get to IT? Yes, you are welcome. If you do either of these courses like DevOps or cloud computing, again in cloud, AWS or GCP or Azure, whatever it is, Anybody of the current times, they're welcome to get into IT industry if they learn some of these courses like DevOps or cloud or what's say cyber security, etc. So today, let's stick to the discussion towards DevOps, and let's try to understand what exactly is DevOps. DevOps is it's a process that's involved in software development to software delivery, and the main goal of DevOps is to fulfill the business requirement of a software company. So now, what is the business requirement of a software company? If we take an example of, say, for example, Zomato, what is the business goal of Zomato? Let's say I am a customer, I placed an online order, and what is my expectation? I want my order to be delivered to me in time. And second thing, I want the order, whatever the food that I order, I want that order to be delivered to me without any spillage. I mean, the package should be done so neat and clean. These are what my expectations are. So now, the company Zomato, they should live up to my expectations, meaning a customer who is availing their service, the company should fulfill that service. The company should fulfill the what's the requirement of the client or the customer. That is important. Now, coming to software companies, what is their goal? What is the goal of a software company? Means every software company should fulfill the goal of their or the expectations of their customers. So now let's say I own a software company, and I should develop a software application to some client, a bank. Now what should I do? I have to develop a software, test it, review it, and finally deliver that software to my client faster. So a software organization, their goals are to deliver a software to their customers in time, continuous delivery. They got to make sure they deliver a quality software to their customers, and they should identify a cost-effective solution and reduce the outages. So I'll keep this simple. Let's take a quick example where, say for example, I own a software company, Trident Software, and now I got a project where I should develop an application software for my client, let's say HDFC Bank. The banking firm, they're expecting a software to carry out their operations online. Now, as a software company, what should I do? I have to make sure I develop and deliver a software to my client continuously faster. I should deliver a software to my client faster. And second thing, I got to make sure I'm delivering a quality software. I got to make sure that I test the software, review it, revise it several times, and I should deliver a quality product to my client. And now let's say I'm not doing it for free. The banking firm, HDFC, let's say they're investing 50 lakhs. They're investing 50 lakhs for their product. Now, what should I do? As a software company, should I spend all that investment to the banking firm for their software? Means no, because any business you take, the goal of every business is to do profits. And as a Trident Software Solutions company, I'm no exception. Even I want to do profits. So how do I do profits? If I spend less on the investment the client is making, the client is investing 50 lakhs, but if I'm able to deliver a product to my client by just spending 20 lakhs or so, what's happening? The rest of the amount is my profit. So as a software company, I should deliver a product to my client by spending lesser amount. Meaning I have to develop my own strategies of how to develop a quality software to my client, but I should not spend all the amount invested by the client. So how do we do that? We'll discuss that as well. And finally, once we deliver the software to the client, we got to ensure that the application software of the client is always running. But that is again a nightmare. We never know when an application software fails. If at all a software fails at the client level, we got to make sure that we reduce that outage time. We got to make sure that we reduce the outage at the client level. Why that software failed? What is the reason? And we have to fix it to the earliest. Because no company or no software company develops a software that never fails. We've been using a lot of tools like PhonePay, Google Pay, Paytm, etc., etc. But we find that at times some of these software applications are failing. That doesn't mean that those softwares are developed by some some beginner. Some startup companies. Prestigious organizations are developing software, but still softwares do fail for various reasons. And we got to make sure that whenever there is an outage, if a client is expecting any challenge with the software, we have to jump in time, fix that challenge, and get that software again back to running state. These are the four business goals that every software organization wants to achieve. And in achieving these challenges or these business needs, organizations should adapt some approach, and that approach is DevOps. The approach that organizations adapt to fulfill all their business goals is DevOps. So, what happens with DevOps? What exactly is DevOps? Means it's not a technology; it is a set of principles and practices that we adapt in software development to software delivery to fulfill all these business goals. And how do we adapt DevOps? And what are the main key elements in DevOps? Or, in simple terms, what exactly is DevOps? It means DevOps is a set of practices that combine software development and IT operations. And the main goal of DevOps is to reduce the SDLC time, software development to software delivery. So, to understand DevOps in detail, first we should know what exactly is software development and how organizations actually develop softwares. What approaches do they follow? So, if we go back in time, like a few decades ago, if we go back in time, organizations used to adapt an approach called traditional SDLC or waterfall model, where first we collect all the requirements from a client, what sort of features the client is expecting in their software. We collect all those requirements, we analyze, design a blueprint for that software, write code, test the software, and deliver the software to the client. This is a traditional way of software development, which we used to follow back in the past. And there are a lot of challenges associated with this traditional way of software development. And some of the challenges are something like this. We develop an entire software and we deliver that whole software to the client at a time. That might take 1 year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. We don't know. But there are a lot of challenges with the traditional way of software development. It's something similar to now. Let's say we are in this era where we are using touch phones. We're doing a lot of activities through our mobile phones. Now, let's say if I'm using let's say a Nokia 1100 phone, which comes with a keypad, no internet, nothing, no WhatsApp, nothing. What do you call me? You call me an outdated guy, isn't it? Because we are in the era where everything is digitized, and we've been using hell lot of applications from ordering groceries online, ordering food online, making payments online, everything doing from our mobile phones. So if we adapt traditional way of software development, it's something very much similar to we using an outdated phone, because there are a lot of challenges associated with traditional SDLC. That's where organizations they started adapting a software development model called agile, which is so sophisticated. And with agile software development, it is pretty easy for us to fulfill all the business goals that a software company expects from us, like continuous delivery, higher quality, whatever the client is expecting from us. It's very much easy for us to fulfill all these goals when we adapt a software development model called agile. So what's so special about agile, and what exactly happens in agile? Means in agile way of software development, what we do is we don't develop an entire software at a time, let the client wait for 5 years or 10 years for his entire software. Instead, what we do is we deliver a software to the client in a incremental fashion, which is very much similar to, let's say, when you go to a restaurant. How do you order food? First, you order soups, then a starter, then a main course, followed by that a dessert, and finally, we end up our meal with some soft drinks, etc. We give instructions to the waiter in this format, in an incremental format. Get me a soup, and once we are done with the soup, then we say, get me a starter. Then we order for the main course. Similarly, now in agile software development to delivery is no longer a one-time task. We get all the requirements from the client, let's say 100 requirements. A client is expecting some 100 requirements in his software or 100 features in his software. Now, what we do is we break those features into multiple blocks. Like say, we break all those 100 requirements into multiple blocks. Let's say 10 prioritized features initially, followed by that 10 more what's the prioritized features, followed by the 10 more features. So this way, we break the software development into multiple blocks, and we focus on developing an initial block, more prioritized features. We plan, we write code, we test the application, we review, and we deliver only that minimal software to the client. And now what happens? The client starts his business with that minimal software without having to wait for months or years. And what happens in the second increment, 10 more prioritized features we pick, we write code, we test, review, and we deliver that minimal product again back to the client. So this way, software development to delivery of the current times, it's no longer a one-time task. It is a task that happens in incremental, it is a task that happens in a continuous manner. And to bring this continuous development process much more better and faster, we adapt what's say DevOps strategies in this software development to software delivery. When we go by the logo of DevOps, if you observe, the logo of DevOps is comprised of 8 stages. What are they? Plan, code, build, test, release, deploy, operate, and monitor. So we as DevOps engineers, we are entitled to fulfill all these 8 stages in software development to software delivery. Plan, code, build, test, release, deploy, operate, and monitor. Plan, code, build, test, and followed by that, release, deploy, operate, and monitor. So let's assume, say for example, we are developing a software for a banking firm, and the banking firm, they asked us to develop a software initially with only these features like customer account creation, deposits, fixed deposits, withdrawals, and let's say balance inquiry. They need a software with these minimal features so that once we develop a minimal software with these features, they're good to start their business, their banking activities. So now what we do, we pick these first initial set of features, we plan, write code, build, and test the software. Followed by that, we release the software into various platforms like a dev platform, a UAT platform, and finally to the production environment. In the dev environment, we test the software so rigorously. Followed by that, we take the project to a UAT or pre-production stage. Here too, we test the software, how it behaves when there is a huge load on the software, and so on. And if all the tests are valid, then we deliver the software to the client, to the production environment. Once we deliver the software to the client, we got to ensure that we keep an eye, we monitor that software's functionality. We keep on monitoring that application, and we got to make sure that there are reduced outages or no outage on that application software. And then again, we start off with the second set of features. Developers start writing code for the second set of features. We plan, write code, build, test, and again, release, deploy, operate, and monitor, and deliver the product to the client in the second iteration. Likewise, the third one. So this way, software development to delivery is no longer a one-time task. It keeps on happening over and over and over again until we reach the last module or the last increment. We adapt a software development model called Agile, and there are some principles and practices that we got to adapt when we go by Agile software development model. So in Agile, what happens is we are asked to, deliver. If we go by the manifesto, there is a manifesto written for Agile, and when we go by this manifesto, we have to fulfill the goals and principles proposed by the Agile organization. What are they? Our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. So as a software company, you should develop and deliver a software to your client faster. That's important. Second, welcome changing requirements even late in development. No matter if the client wants some changes in his software, we got to make sure we adapt those changes and deliver what the client is expecting. What software the client is expecting, we should deliver that product. But when we go back in time, let's say if we adapted a traditional SDLC, there is no possibility of us changing the requirements once we start developing a project. So thereby, agile is something that organizations are adapting at a great level. And to fulfill all these goals, we are bringing forth a culture in software development called Devops. And in DevOps, what we do is that we enable automations, communications, and collaborations, because there are a lot of activities that are repetitive in nature in DevOps. And we fulfill all those activities by adapting automations, communications, and collaborations. And there are a hell lot of tools in DevOps journey that we got to go through to build a pipeline of activities that are automated, that are enabled with communications and collaborations. At some point of time, I'll explain all these in much more detail. We got to go in depth here to explore all these concepts in detail. So what I do is I'll try to simply conclude this discussion with what are the prerequisites that I should know in order to get into the DevOps environment. I'm very much interested to get into IT. I want to make a 6-digit salary or 7-digit salary. So what should I do in order to explore? So one cool thing is no coding required. So people over there, if you are concerned about coding, don't worry. DevOps offers you a no coding platform. So anybody, no matter what platform you're from, you're good to get into DevOps. No coding is required. But there are a few prerequisites that you should fulfill to get into DevOps, which are you should know Linux basics, shell scripting, and networking basics. Ensuring that we'll teach you all these first, then only we dive into DevOps activities. Coding is not mandatory. Forget about coding, or leave it to me. I will take care of the coding part. If there is any coding in DevOps, I'll take care of that. But there is no coding requirement. There's no coding required for DevOps. And now coming to how should I acquire the position in IT in order to get into DevOps? So we are going to help you out in assisting you in your placement programs. After you completing your DevOps activities, we make sure that we support you in placement, providing you with placement assistance. So you got to make sure you practice all the concepts. First, you should fulfill your pre-requirements. You should be very good at Linux operating system, shell scripting, and networking basics. And followed by that, we teach you all DevOps related concepts. Like there are some 14 plus tools which will walk you through step by step. And followed by that, you should also master some of the cloud platforms like AWS, Azure, and GCP. It depends on you. What cloud platform do you choose? Based on that, we'll make sure we'll train you in that respected cloud platform. And followed by that, we make sure that we teach you some of the real-time projects. We'll deploy you on some of the real-time projects, which are very close to the IT industry. So we make sure that we conduct some real-time projects, capstone projects. We make you do things. And followed by that, we'll guide you in your interview preparation, your resume preparation. We'll conduct some mock interviews, and so on. And finally, we do provide you with a placement assistance, nurturing your profile, to the suitable positions in IT. These are what we are offering from our end. And by the end of the course, you become job ready, and you are good to apply for the positions, various positions in IT, as a cloud engineer or a DevOps engineer or a platform engineer, etc. But the only thing is, we get you prepared and we make you ready for a job. But the thing is, you should also put your effort from your end. Practice is mandatory. You got to make sure you practice more and more and more. You got to improve your skill set in communications, and you got to improve your English and your skill set, like typing skills and so on, to make sure that you are a professional in this field. Yep. So we ensure of doing all these from our end. And if you're ready, give us a call so that we'll make sure we'll give you, much more detailed overview of how we are going to cover all these areas and how we will make you, what's say, an expert in this domain. And one technology not to, not to ignore. One of the technology that the organization is expecting from us is having pretty good expertise over artificial intelligence. So in all our courses, we are integrating artificial intelligence concepts like GitHub Copilot, likewise, Google Gemini, Grok from Twitter or X. Some of these artificial intelligence platforms too we are integrating, and you are good. You're covered in all ways. A 360-degree overview you get, in this entire domain, including artificial intelligence. And don't worry about AI's prominence. Artificial intelligence is not stealing your jobs, but a person with remember this statement: a person with artificial intelligence, AI is stealing your jobs. So make sure that you're focusing on artificial intelligence as well, and we're getting you covered in that area as well in this course, right? So that is all, team, from my end today, and we'll see you in the next class. Ma'am, shall we disconnect?